telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our live stream book chat. Tonight we are in Team Source Books. We're live on YouTube. We are in Isn't It Romantic Book Club, in Abbie's Dangerously Dark Darlings, and Jennie's Page Turners. Welcome, everyone. My name is Diana Muñoz Stewart. I write romantic suspense for the strong of heart. My latest book, Broken Promises, is out now, and I'll drop a link in the comments in a moment. And my upcoming release, Hidden Justice, will be out in April.
I love the bag.
I love the bag.
Isn't that a cool bag? I'm going to be giving one of these bags away to people in my readers group. So in my ARC team. So I'll drop a link for that too, and everybody can join up and be entered to win one of those cool bags. Yeah.
Nice.
That's great.
Thanks.
So hi, everyone. My name is Sharon Wray, and welcome our first Isn't It Romantic Book Club video of 2023. The first of many exciting ones. I write romantic suspense. My most current book is Love's Last Kiss. I also write romantic comedies and other things. And this one is coming out in February. Mrs. Right. It's an anthology, a rom-com anthology.
Gosh.
Super cute. Oh gosh, it's so super cute. Anyway, and for those of you who follow the Deadly Force series, the next book in the series is A Promise at Midnight, and it's coming out later this year. So I'm very excited to show the cover.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait either. So, okay, Jen.
Nice. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennie Marts. I write small town stories with humor and heart and occasionally a murder. I am one of those authors that has like 30 books and cross genres. So I have some super hot cowboys that I write. And I've got the new book in this series, the one after, so hard to do this. The one after Never Enough Cowboys, Every Bit of Cowboy. It comes out March 7th. It's available for pre-order now. I write super sweet books for Hallmark too. And then I do have mysteries where somebody does get murdered and then ordinary women, just like ourselves, go and solve the murder as one does.
Where's the cover for the new one?
Oh, that would be great to show. Yeah, I don't have that. I think the Onion Run doesn't come out until the new book. It comes out in July. So I'll have plenty of time to show you the cover for that one.
It's so cute.
Right now, I'm super excited about Every Bit of Cowboy that comes out here in March 7th. So we're real close on that. So another cowboy is coming out for me on the Horse Rescue Ranch. And super excited to be here tonight with Lisa. Because I know you're so excited. So Abbie, how about you?
Well, I'm Abbie Roads. I write dark romantic thrillers. I tell people think an episode of Criminal Minds meets a love story with a paranormal twist. My latest book, I have not been, well, it's out there if you look, but I've been showing people this, like, you know, where you can just see the title. But there's the actual
Oh, you have an actual book.
Yeah.
Is it an arc? Is it a
Well, this is an actual book. So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's gorgeous.
Is it insulting to say that it's like cool and creepy at the same time?
I know.
I know, right? Like, my favorite part is the
Yeah.
I just think that's just like, I just love that. Like,
It's a very creepy cover.
She did a great job on the covers.
Yeah.
She did, didn't she? I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
She's incredible.
Well, I'm also like super like fangirling excited, and they had to keep telling me, "Don't talk to Lisa. Don't ask her these questions. We're live like the whole time backstage," because I just couldn't stop myself fangirling. So I'm going to introduce Lisa Regan, who we read The Innocent Wife, and I have read all of the Josie Quinn books. I made it a goal to make sure they were all read before I got to The Innocent Wife.
I can't believe you did that. Good for you.
I know.
I feel like I've accomplished something.
You did. Good for you.
a life goal bucket list. So Lisa Regan is a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling author of the Detective Josie Quinn series. Lisa is a member of the Sisters in Crime, International Thriller Writers, and Mystery Writers of America. She has a bachelor's degree in English and a master's of education degree from Bloomsburg University. She lives near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the U.S. with her husband, daughter, and a Boston Terrier named Mr. Phillips. And if you haven't seen Mr. Phillips, he's so freaking cute. Like, he's cute. Just as cute as Lisa is.
Welcome, Lisa.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming
so much.
tonight.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's wonderful to be here.
Oh, we're so glad to have you here. My God, we love that book so much.
Oh, good.
Wonderful. Abbie, just go first. Just go.
Yeah. Just, let's just
But you
wait
know
while
I'm like bursting,
I
right?
know you are.
Abbie's going to ask you 10 questions now. We're ready, Lisa. Here we go.
Okay. So, like, how did you come up with the idea for the Josie Quinn detective books?
Well, I was pitching a number of books to my publisher at the time. I really wanted to work with Bookature, and so I was kind of throwing every idea that I ever had at them. And they wanted me to write a detective series and to kind of include all of the tropes that you typically see in detective fiction, you know, like a detective who is a little bit rogue, has a strong sense of justice, has anger management problems, rough around the edges, maybe a little abrasive, maybe a little alcohol problem, that kind of thing. And I said, sure, but I would like to do it as a woman. And they said, go for it. And so I wrote the proposal for Vanishing Girls, and, it was kind of, the rest is, we're still going.
Do you plot or do you pants? Like, or do you have like a overarch series, like an overarching arc for the whole entire series?
I do now. And typically we had been working maybe 3 books ahead, and then now I know what's going to happen about 10 books ahead. So
Wow.
we always try to work a little bit ahead so that I can kind of, seed certain things that are going to appear in later books, because I just think it's more fun that way.
Yeah, like when
So there's 10 more from now?
There will be 35 total. So
Yeah. And
I
this is 17, right? We just read 17.
you read 16.
Oh, 16.
Yeah, I'm working on 17
Okay.
now. So
Okay.
yeah.
And I have to, I think you saw this, but I sent you serious, like, I'm mad at Lisa Regan vibes, like, over the internet when I thought you killed Noah. Like,
Yes.
I was just like, I was literally getting ready for work, and I was like, what? She did not. I was like talking to she did not do this. She did not.
Like, people were very upset. Yes.
But then I kept listening, and I thought, I trust her. She better not let me down. And so you redeemed yourself with Noah.
I had to say to everyone, I kept getting loads of comments and emails and messages, and I would say, okay, but just keep going.
Just keep reading.
Keep reading. Keep reading.
Yeah. And Lizette, oh my God, that like broke my heart.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, she killed the grandma. Like, what? Oh, Lisa.
I know. But I always say that if Lizette was going to go out, that's the way that she would want
That's
to
exactly
go.
how she would have gone out. Yeah.
Was saving Josie. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She was just the feistiest old lady, and just her little walker. And
Well, that sounds fantastic. What book was that? That's not.
oh no, I'm talking about other books in this series that y'all haven't
Trying to catch up.
Well,
Okay.
I could tell because I'm jumping in at book 16. I could tell that there was a lot of, I got to go read about that. Well, I got to go figure out what happened with that, because this character obviously has some history that I need to go read that book to figure that out. So you do a great job of
thank you.
seeding in a lot of interest and excitement for your other books.
Oh my gosh, we just got a great comment. I can't see the name. It says Facebook user, so I apologize. I can't see your name. But she said, Lisa writes like she's running out of time. And what a great description of the pacing
That's
that
probably
book.
That's probably my friend Courtney. She always says that to me.
Great.
I agree with Jenny when she says that, just reading the book made me want to go back and read other books. But I didn't feel like it wasn't a standalone. It totally could stand on its own. I never felt out of place. Like I didn't understand the characters, the work environment, or the people around her.
Oh, good.
So I have to ask you, how do you decide what not to put in? Because after you have 16 books, you can't put in everything for other books. How do you decide what to leave out and what to put in there?
It's really, that is really difficult because there's so much more to the series regulars and their relationships and their dynamics than what you see in the paragraph or two that I've put in there. What I try to do, I always think of it this way, is to give you just enough so that you understand what's going on and maybe why these two characters are interacting the way they are, but then I try to leave out as many spoilers as possible. And some of them are some things are just impossible to leave out, like if you read book 16, you're going to get some spoilers from earlier books. It's just impossible to leave everything out. But I just try to do the bare minimum so that you understand, and then you can just move on to the new story.
Yeah. And guys, did you all realize that she shot Noah in the first book? Like she shot him,
I read
she shot him. Like, I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh.
And now they're married.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, Abbie,
that's in every book. She still feels so guilty about that.
She does. She does.
Someone just commented, 35 books. There'll be no one left in Denton. Just Josie sitting on her porch wondering where everybody went.
I have thought she's a little bit like is Angela Lansbury in Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
Like there's always a body. Like, don't be around Josie, man.
Yeah. The crime rate is astronomical in Denton.
So Lisa, tell us a little bit about your writing process. If you're putting out 3 books a year, are you writing 3 books a year? Or are you writing more books than that? And tell us a little bit about your writing process and how you accomplish that.
I'm writing 3 a year. And so typically when before I finished one, I have an outline. Like for example, right now, I just finished writing 17. I turned the first draft of that in on January 6th, I believe. I've already got outlines for 18 and 19. Mm-hmm. And so I'm doing a structural edit for 17 now, but what I will have been doing in the meantime is just kind of poking at that book 18 outline, trying to flesh it out a little, add a little. I kind of keep it in the back of my mind while I'm doing other things. And then I'll sit down after I've turned in this structural edit and actually start writing it. And then as I'm writing that, I will be doing more development on the outline for 19, and then I'll start to outline 20 and 21 as well.
And what's a typical writing day look like for you? Are you writing 5 days a week?
I write every day.
7 days a week.
There's the only day that I don't write is the day after I've turned in a first draft. That's the only, and even then I'm sitting on the couch with the remote control like a trophy, and I'm like, oh, I could be working on something right now. I think I have a little idea. I could write down, and it's really hard for me to stop.
You know what? I was wondering about that. I mean, after writing so many books, all those characters, I mean, they're living rent free in your brain, right?
Yes.
How do you ever turn them off?
I'm not sure they're ever really off. I think I'm just like, just be quiet back there.
So do you have a daily word count goal, or do you have a page goal, or do you just go for it and when you're done for the day?
Most of the time I just go for it, but when I hit about the 2-month mark before a first draft deadline, then I will like count off the days and divide by how many words is left in my goal. So like if I have 30,000 words left in the book, then I'll say, oh, it's 60 days, and divide it. And then that's my goal to get there. And I some days I still will come in under or come in way over, but it always tends to work itself out. and sometimes I get to the last day, and I'm like, I got to my goal, but the story's not finished yet, so I have to keep going until the story is done. Yeah.
Been there.
Lisa, have you ever pulled all-nighters right up to deadline?
Oh my goodness, yeah. This last one I did, and a couple I would say before. I don't think I did with the 3 or 4 before that, but before those, there were a couple where I was up to like between 3 and 5 in the morning, and
Wow.
right to the very bitter end.
How do you decide like what kind of murder, crime, whatever is going to happen? Because as I've listened to all of them, like there's been a couple times I was like, ooh, that reminds me of a Dateline episode I saw. I wonder if Lisa got that idea from like a Dateline, or like I get in my little writer head and like, where does she get these ideas? Like how do you choose what crime I guess is going to happen?
I mean, for me, it's kind of like it's going to be like either a murder or a missing person. So then at that point, it's just a matter of making it really interesting in a way that I haven't done before, or in a way that hasn't been interesting to me before. I just want it to be a little bit fresh. And so typically I'll add some elements to things, or I'll talk to my editor and I'll say, this is the idea I have. And she'll say, okay, but what if we added this or this? Like with book 11, we talked about doing, it was a murder. It was going to be at Josie's wedding venue. And then, so we said, what if we put the body actually right outside the church, and we put a creepy little doll with it, with the body. And then we had, what if we then had Josie investigating a crime scene actually in her wedding dress? So it's just kind of my editor and I we talk back and forth about how can we make these premises really, really interesting.
We do an amazing job. I have to ask you, how do you keep up with the investigative techniques? Because things have changed, I'm sure, and they're always changing, but you seem to have such an amazing grasp of all the different procedures.
Well, that's really as a result. This is a result of my the people that help me with my research. So it's a lot of different people. My husband helps me with all things firearms. He used to be in the military, and he's got a lot of various types of training, like wilderness training and that kind of stuff. So he helps me with that. I have a gentleman I went to grade school with, actually, is a lieutenant in a department that is a similar size to Denton in Pennsylvania. And so typically in my first draft, I'll be asking him questions all times of the day or night. And he's wonderfully gracious. He will always get back to me very quickly. And then if it's something really more complicated and I need, like to have a phone call or sit down and Zoom, then I have another consultant, Stephanie Kelly. She's a retired detective, and she'll hop on a call with me and we'll talk it through. And then when I'm finished with the book, second, third draft, I will send to her and she'll read it line by line, and she'll tell me, this is not right. This is, you did a good job with this, or, the procedure that you used here is outdated. This is how it would be done. And then in terms of keeping up to date, I belong to, or I am a part of the Writers Police Academy, which is run by Lee Laughlin. He's been in law enforcement for a long time. And his whole purpose with the Writers Police Academy is to connect writers with law enforcement experts. So I take all the classes that they offer that I'm able to take. And a lot of times I'll ask Lee questions, or I'll say to Lee, I need a latent print expert, or I need a blood spatter expert, or I need a medical examiner to read these pages and make sure I got the autopsy scene right. And he will be able to connect me with someone.
Wow. So
I really spend a lot of time getting all of those details as authentic as I can. And I said to my husband very recently, I was like, I don't know how anyone commits a crime these days. I mean, the advancements in law enforcement and forensics and what they're able to do are absolutely amazing.
I had never heard of that. I can't remember what it's called right now. That the force field, around the thing where they could do the phone calls and they could ping all the cell phones. And I was like, did you make that up? I've never even heard of that.
It's a real thing, and they're able to do it. So now it's always like everybody has a cell phone. So all of my killers have to be smart enough to turn it on.
Oh.
Well, and there's cameras everywhere too.
Yes,
and I just think, how on earth, do you do something and not get on a camera? I
don't know. The only advantage I have is that writing in Denton, which is still, semi-rural Pennsylvania, is that, in central Pennsylvania, there aren't as many cameras as, we would be used to in a more urban area. So, but it's still, people find it a little unbelievable, I think.
I assume Denton's a made-up town, right? That's not based. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. But it's like, then I get to questioning because it's on the Susquehanna River. And I'm like, is that a real river? Did she make up the river too?
That is a real river. I pepper in some real locations from central Pennsylvania. And Denton is kind of a combination of all the different places in central Pennsylvania that I lived and worked and traveled to.
Cool.
So Lisa, I write cozies, so I don't have to, I never really talk about blood spatter. All of my dead bodies are just conveniently, nicely, just dead, just sweetly dead. But I know that my next door neighbor is a police officer, and I've written a whole thing and then gone to him and said, hey, this is what I did. Is this right? And he just is like, no, absolutely not. You can't do that. And then I had to go back and rewrite and change things. And apparently I can't have every woman in the book club go offer an alibi and lie and say that she was with them. So I'm wondering, have you had something like that where you wrote this whole thing and then found out you couldn't do it and had to go back and switch it all up?
Oh, many times, many times. And so now it's to the point where I will even put a whole placeholder language in the book and say, I need to check with my law enforcement consultants before I write the scene. And then I will go to them and say, this is what I need to happen. This is what I need Josie to do. And this is what I need the end result to be. So how can I get from here to there? And they're so gracious to talk it through with me so that I can get it right. And I mean, there are some things that, I have to kind of let go for the sake of pacing and entertainment and plot. But, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing that's really that a law enforcement absolutely would not do. I try never to do that.
One of our readers has asked about, do you talk to coroners and doctors as well for some of your research?
Yes. Coroners, doctors, medical examiners, and actually paramedics, EMS workers. They're very, very useful. They're very, very smart, and their experiences are insane. And also both of my moms and my aunt are nurses, and they're really a great wealth of information.
I have a small coroner story to tell you. Lisa, you mentioned the Writers Police Academy. So I had gone to the Writers Police Academy one year, and I went to watch the coroner speak. And the coroner had all these pictures. Okay. And they said, if you feel a little woozy, leave. And I was totally fine. Didn't feel woozy watching it. But it seemed like a favorite of the coroners to show. This is right before lunch. The favorite thing the coroner seemed to show was maggots.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So right as this presentation ends, everything's fine. I'm fine. A couple people had to leave, but I was cool. I go out, I start to get my lunch, and they had this giant bowl of rice salad.
Stop.
No. I've just not looked at rice the same since then, So anyway, there is such a thing as learning too much sometimes with that stuff.
Lisa, are you part of Sisters in Crime as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And Lisa, do you have, I know besides Josie, who's your favorite character? Do you have one?
It would probably be Gretchen.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the instinct is probably to say Noah, but I really love Gretchen because I love I just love the dynamic between her and Josie and this idea of female friendship. And, they're bonded by their past trauma and, they're both always trying to work through, their past in conjunction with their present and the things that it triggers in them. And they kind of support each other in that. And I really enjoy writing that.
There's a whole story about Gretchen you guys don't even know that you need to go read.
Well, someone in the chat group wants to know if we're going to see more of Meredith.
Yes, I'm not sure when. Meredith was such a huge hit. This is the most fun. This is such fun for me that, you work on these books and they come out and you never know what minor character is going to be a huge hit with people or why. You just never know. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought Meredith was kind of cool and funny and I liked her. I liked how spunky she was. But I never imagined that she would have such a huge impact on readers. And I just loved her. And so, yeah, we've talked about bringing her back. It's just, I don't think it'll be in the next couple of books, but she will reappear.
And I love that, like, you made the bad guys mental health counselors, because I'm a mental health counselor and I'm like, I just love that they were bad guys. That just made my heart happy.
I love that Abbie connects with the villains.
I know. Well, and the person just responded, again, it's Facebook user, so I can't see your name, but Meredith might make a great love interest for the hotel manager.
Oh, I know who that is, because that's one of my faithful readers, and I named the hotel manager after him.
Oh, I wish I could see people's names.
Noted.
So, speaking of names and trying to keep everything straight, do you keep a series Bible?
I have to. Yeah, absolutely.
I can only imagine.
And there's a lovely woman named Claire Milto who she reads every book after I've written it, and she kind of keeps the Bible for me and then sends it to me every time. It's color coded and searchable. And I have it open when I'm writing a first draft. I just have that document open all the time so that I can reference it.
Is it a Word document or?
Yeah, I was going to say, so for our readers that don't know what a series Bible is, or I'm like so curious as to, I know what one is, but I don't know this Word document. Tell us a little bit more about what it looks like and how it is and how you use it.
Well, so I'm I have to have simplicity. So anything more complicated than a Word document, I can't deal with it. So it's just in the beginning, it just lists every title, and every title is a different color. And so I know that, like, if The Girl with No Name is a light blue, that the title is a light blue. Anywhere that information appears in light blue, then I know it's from book 2. I know it's from that book. And then it's organized by main characters, secondary characters, places, and I think that might be it. But you can, what I love about it is it's just like, if I need to know what I've said about the hospital before, I just type in Denton Memorial Hospital, and the whole section comes up, and it tells me everything that I've said about the hospital across all the books.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's wonderful. It's nice that you have someone helping you do that.
Yeah. I could never do it myself. It would take forever.
And you just had a reader say, I love all your books. I'd love to help.
Oh, help with the Bible?
Yeah.
Well, I've got Claire, so.
No, that's what I'm saying. Was Claire a reader who just offered to help?
No, I'm not sure how I found her. I think that somebody, I want to say Andrew Watts might have suggested that I find like a virtual, he called them virtual assistants, and at the time, typically they would do other things, not series Bibles, but that's what I was looking for, was just somebody to do the series Bible. And I think I just searched, virtual assistant, series Bible, and a few names came up, and I approached a couple of people until I landed on Claire, and she's just been wonderful, the job that she does.
Cool.
That's wonderful.
So I assume you modeled Mr. Trout off of Mr. Phillips.
Yes. Trout's not as mischievous as Mr. Phillip, though, or demanding. He's not.
Yeah, Charles seems pretty good actually.
Yeah, he's pretty chill. He's not a tyrant like Mr. Phillip.
Right.
And what kind of dog do you have?
A Boston Terrier.
Boston Terrier. Oh, fun.
Lisa, do you have any thoughts of or any plans to bring in characters mid-series that will last for the rest of the series?
Yeah. And Gretchen was someone who was, well, she was brought in book 2. And then Metner was brought in later books. The Chief came, I want to say the end of book 3. And then we will have some new characters. Definitely one new kind of main character coming, book 18, 19, maybe. I'm still working on where we're going to bring that character in. But yeah, there will be new characters because I feel like you have to keep it. I mean, the series, you have to keep it fresh. The series regular characters, people love them, but I still want to shake things up a little bit.
Well,
So is it easier or more difficult to write the books now with so many behind you?
I think it's easier because the world is already built.
Mm-hmm.
I think the tough thing is that I do have so many characters that have appeared across multiple books, and it's hard to know. You can't have them all in one book. It's too cumbersome.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard to know who to bring in. So that readers just can, say, oh, hi, that's Sawyer, or, whoever it is. So it's just hard to decide who am I going to bring in this book that readers haven't seen for a while.
That was my question. How do you decide?
Yeah.
It's usually like what fits the story best.
Oh, yeah.
So, Josie's twin sister, Trinity, we haven't seen her for a while, and I know people love her. So she'll be pretty prominent in book 17. And the way that it worked was the story just lent itself to her being there. So that's what I did.
Have you ever discovered you've written yourself into a situation like you wanted to tell the current story in a certain way, but then you realize that you can't because of stuff you've already written about the world or about people? Or
I do my best to avoid that when I'm plotting. Mostly it's things like I will write about something in the town, and then somewhere along the line, the editor or Claire will be like, hey, this was on the other side of town 3 books ago, or or someone was killed here. Do you really want to use that this time? So,
is there anything you wish you had done differently with the town now that you're 17 books in? Are there things you wish you'd added or not added, or would you go back and change if you could?
I think I would have made it bigger because the amount of crime they have is insane. So it's just kind of like, I'm just like with the readers, like, just suspend your disbelief for a little while. And I wish I had a map. That's the one thing that I don't have. And I'm not good with drawing or anything visual, so I can't make myself a map, but I would love to have somebody who would be able to do a map for me so that I could visually see where things.
Oh, that would be
nice.
Yeah.
You had to mark out where all the murders took place. I thought this ending was so fantastic, and you just kept pulling me along. I kept thinking, okay, now I have it. Okay. And you would just change things up on me. And I loved it. I thought you did a great job, but you knew from the beginning where you were going to end up. Is that right?
Yes. And so, without giving too much away, that the big twist for me was that, let's just say that the wife is not so innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that from before I wrote a single word, I knew that was going to be the thing that kind of turned things on its head. Because to me, that was really interesting. It was just a matter of where to reveal it and how.
Well, also the fact that what she was not innocent about wasn't what you expected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was because we all assume, oh, she's not innocent, so she did this thing, but that's not what she did. She did something else, which was actually quite shocking.
I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
didn't either.
no, this
I
guy
know.
lies about everything. I'm not taking his word for it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was the goal for.
You got us. You drew us all right in.
Do you ever
So-
scare yourself, Lisa? Like, do you ever, like, when you're working in this world, like, get yourself all worked up? Like, oh my gosh, some of this could actually be real.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these scenarios really they are real in
Right.
to certain degrees. I mean, you know, you watch, like I think Abbie said earlier, you know, you just can watch Dateline, and some of the stuff is more shocking than anything I could come up with. So yeah, sometimes depending on what I'm working on, and especially if I'm writing in the evening and it's like dark and the house is quiet, I just feel like, oh, I gotta watch an episode of Friends or some puppy videos before I go to sleep, or I'll have nightmares.
Well, would you ever consider writing a lighter genre to kind of give yourself a break? Or
You know, I've thought about it, and I've had, like, occasionally I'll have an idea for, I don't know, like a romance or something. But then I find myself like, there has to be, to me, like, for me to write it, there has to be some kind of horrible element. Like, I can't help myself from sprinkling a body in there, or a deep dark secret.
Yeah, Abbie writes that way too.
Yeah, I just can't help it.
It's just like boring otherwise if there's no body. Like,
Well, Abbie, some of us just stick a goat or a mini horse in place of
I need a body.
so what is go ahead, Jenny. Sorry.
Oh, I just was going to say, so kind of along that same lines, I mean, your whole world kind of is Josie, but is there any other projects that you're, you know, working on or that are coming that might be something new and different, or are you just totally like Josie world for the next 4 years?
I'm pretty focused on Josie. I mean, I have a couple of things that I have this one book that I've been working on for 15 years now. I may never finish it. And it's completely off the wall. It's kind of like a little, I don't want to say paranormal, but like one of the characters has telekinesis. So it's got like a kind of a Stranger Things vibe. And
Yeah.
well, that's why I say, like, I don't know if I'll ever finish it because it's really outside my wheelhouse. And then I had an idea for a book that would kind of be a nice love letter to my dad, who passed away in 2021. So that's something that I kind of I make notes here and there. It's not really fully formed in my mind. But those are just things that, you know, occasionally I'll write a little something down. But for the most part, I'm just like laser focused on Josie, because I love Josie, and
And it works.
Yeah,
It's
it
working for you.
We love her too. Yeah.
Guys,
you're
she
reading
was
her.
messy at the beginning. She was really.
Oh, I gotta
she
go
was
back.
like an
You
alcoholic.
convinced me, Abbie. You convinced me.
And that was the point. I wanted her to be really messed up and not dealing with anything well, so that I could show her growth with each case.
That's really neat. So what is your inspiration for writing? Have you written since a child? So what
Yeah,
turned
I've been
you on to
writing.
that?
I've just been writing as long as I could hold a pen. And then, you know, eventually one of my parents brought home a typewriter, which I know dates me, but indeed, I wrote a book on that typewriter. And it just was always like a great escape, and also the way that I made sense of the world and things that were confusing. And so I've just always done it. And if you said to me today, like, publishing is no longer an option, I would still write, because I feel like it's a part of me. It's in me.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So
tell us your story of your first publishing deal.
Oh, so I had written this book in 2006, Finding Claire Fletcher. I started looking for an agent. I spent 4 years looking for an agent. I was rejected like 100, I think it was 154 times was the final tally. Yeah. And then got the agent, went on submissions, and we were looking for 2 years. And I think it was like 24 publishers said no. And then finally this little publisher opened up and they loved it. And so they took it. And that was my first deal. They took that one in the second book that I wrote.
How many books do you have before the Josie Quinn?
There's 5.
Okay, you have 5 books before. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Someone just
And
said
so-
154 people should be fired.
All
Very
right.
cute.
So what do you read? Who are some of your favorite authors?
My favorite authors are Jennifer Hillier, Sean Cosby. I think he goes by S.A. Cosby. Karen Slaughter, Chelsea Kane, Dennis Lehane.
Mm.
I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Greg Hurwitz. Totally obsessed with Orphan X. I like Maddie Dalrymple, Jane Kelly. I like actually, and then like outside my genre, I like Katie Mettner very, very much, and Dana Mason. And then I've just kind of every so often I like to pick something up that's completely really outside of what I normally read. So like I'll pick up a sci-fi book or a fantasy book and just give it a try.
But mainly you read mystery as well as write it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And do you listen to true crime podcast?
Sometimes, yeah, not as much as I would like to. But there's one that's on Prime that's really good. I want to say Crime Junkie, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to that one whenever I can.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, I know. It's just like now it's like there's not time to listen to all of them. There's so many.
Mm-hmm.
And they all
They
sound
really
great.
get in your head, though. My daughter is looking for a place now, and she keeps telling us, well, not anywhere where it's in the woods because I don't want to end up murdered. You have to have lots of neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no one ever gets murdered in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, right.
Right?
It's-
And it's funny, I'm a farm girl. I grew up like around, cornfields all around. That's comforting to me. Like, but other people would be scared. Like,
Yeah, Children of the Corn. Haven't you seen it? We did get a comment for you, Lisa, that says Finding Claire Fletcher is wicked dark and just wow. I read that book many years ago and knew Lisa was a brilliant storyteller.
Thank you.
oh man, that means I have to go back and read Finding Claire Fletcher. Because it's wicked dark, and that just sold me on.
Wicked dark. Just speaking Abbie's language.
Right?
Lisa, when does book 17 come out?
May 3rd.
Oh, so it's coming out soon.
Yeah,
It's going
yeah.
into production. Okay.
And are you doing any conventions or live things this year?
I don't have anything planned right now. It's kind of up in the air. We did a lot of signings in my area in the fall. What I do want to do is have some kind of thing locally for readers for book 17 right around the time it comes out. What I'm hoping to do is kind of a brunch thing almost where
Oh man, yeah.
like we can sit down together and you get a signed book and we can chat. So that's what we're hoping to plan.
Oh, that's a
Okay,
great
so
idea. I love
That is a
that.
great idea.
We have to back up here 1 second because you said you're working on book 17 and it comes out in May.
Yeah, I mean it's finished. I'm just doing the edits.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So it's
How often, how much time does Bookouture usually do between when you turn in the book and when it comes out?
I think it's usually 4 or 5 months.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all.
that's-
Yeah, we all are used to
A
source
year
books
at
once a
least.
year.
I mean, but you have a huge team behind you.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
have so many people working to help you out. And,
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so masterful when you're reading these books. I was just blown away by the detail and
Thank
everything that you put in there.
And the
Thank you.
pacing. I mean, how quickly
It makes me
moves.
feel better knowing you have so many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And oh, I'm sorry, Abby, did you say something?
No, go ahead.
Sorry, Lisa, did you oh gosh, now I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry.
Did you know that, like, at the beginning when you first started, like with Ray's character, did you know he was going to like die right at the beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right
Okay,
away.
thank
Yeah.
you for all of the spoilers,
I
Abby.
know.
I'm sorry. I am
Hold your ears.
Well, I have to know, does anything surprise you in writing this story? I mean, do you plot it out so with such detail that you're like, okay, yeah, now this is going to happen? Or does something come along and just kind of shock you a little?
I'm always surprised. Always
yeah?
surprised by whether it's the way that a series regular character reacts to something, or it could be something as big as like book 17. I had planned for a certain character to be the killer, and I literally got 3/4 through the book, and this other character kind of came into the story, and I was like, oh, but that would be cool. This person would make a much better killer. And that's happened to me before, where I've changed even the villain, partway through the book. And that to me is always the most shocking, because and the other thing that's really shocking is sometimes you don't even need to make many adjustments to change the person.
Yeah. You've kind of already unconsciously laid the groundwork. And didn't realize it. Yeah, I've had that happen.
Oh, so that was my question. It was, how detailed are your outlines? Are they very, very detailed, or just enough to get you started?
I mean, they're detailed to a point, but I mean, they're not like paragraph by paragraph detailed. They're kind of like, what the main thing for me is, because these are police procedurals, is that I need to know where how the investigation is going to be structured. Like, I can't have Josie find a clue in the second chapter that will enable her to find the killer immediately, and then the book is over. So I kind of go, like, I do a couple of lines or a paragraph, and I try to go scene by scene as far as I can go. And just a little, like, Josie finds the body, the ERT shows up, they process it, and then she goes and talks to so-and-so, and they say this, and it's just kind of a generalized type of thing. And a lot of times I don't get all the way to the end, so I just start writing when the outline is as complete as I can make it at that time. And then as I'm writing, things will kind of shift and shake loose in my mind, and then I will stop, readjust the outline, write a little bit more of it, and then go back to writing. So I kind of go back and forth between the two.
And do you usually know Josie's black moment in the beginning, or do you kind of wait and see, like for her emotional arc as she changes in each book?
Yeah. I have a general idea, what it's going to be and when it's going to be, but a lot of times that changes as well, because sometimes she just doesn't react the way I anticipate, or there's a juicier place in the book where she could, have a little emotional moment.
And
So
I'm
did you
so
have
fascinated. How do you do a character arc of her changing over 17 books?
Well, I mean, there's some like really broad things. Like, I knew that her and Noah were going to get together, so it was just a matter of, how's she going to get to a place where she will accept his love, and that's pretty broad. That's kind of easy to do across books. And then just on a smaller scale, I try to put something in each case that brings up some kind of like unprocessed trauma for her, and that she then has to work through. And sometimes it's just, I have just a very vague idea of what it will be, but I don't know, who's going to be the person that brings it up, or what the scenario is going to be that forces her to look at it. So that kind of thing happens while I'm writing, but I'll just say, well, she needs to think about her grief in this book. And then I kind of hope for the best.
That's a very authorial answer.
I really enjoyed seeing Luke coming back around.
People were crazy about him. I brought him back because the readers were just clamoring for him to come come back.
Yeah, is there going to be more of Luke? Is Luke going to keep being
Yes.
around with Blue? I think. The
Yeah,
dog?
he won't be in every book because again he's more of a minor character, but I'll bring him back now and then. I was actually really pleased with how he came back in the role that he played in The Innocent Wife. It was much more in depth and important than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I liked you showing his trauma, and I think because you showed it, like I think that just made him even more deeper as a character.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes. That Josie is so kind to him, and you could just
I
see
love that
like
scene.
everything else drops away for her, but that interaction, and I just saw that was beautifully done. Do you have a favorite scene in the book?
Oh, I usually do have a favorite scene in every book.
Oh, good. Wow.
I think it's, and this is terrible, but I think it's the big fight scene in the house at the end.
Oh,
With the hammer and the
Yeah.
because it's so, to me, it was so dramatic and there's so much going on there. And, Josie's kind of super badass every book and she's usually the one that is saving people. So to put her in a really vulnerable place like that was just really interesting for me to write.
Yeah, that was a great scene, I have to say. So do you ever listen to the full audiobook of all of your books or just bits and pieces?
Just bits and pieces. Just because I don't like, it's a lot of books now. So
well, Abbie did it, so
yeah. I mean, they send me a pretty sizable sample with each book, and I always listen to the entire thing because it's just I think Kate Hanford, when she narrates, she just I'm like, did I really write those words? They sound so good.
Love it when that happens.
Yeah, because I listened to audiobook too, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was very good.
I have to go listen. I've read the books. I have to go.
Yeah, I read it too.
Yeah. Well, and like I find like I could not have read them, sat down and read them, but I was able to listen to all of them on audio because I listen while I'm getting ready for work in the mornings, or while I'm cleaning house or doing laundry or whatever it is. Like, so that's my reading with my ears.
Well, I have to say I read it within less than 48 hours.
Yeah, I did too. I read it in 2 days. So.
Wow, thank you.
And I would have read it in less than that if I didn't have to like make dinner and do laundry and go to work.
Feed people.
Yeah, exactly. Feed the dogs.
So, Lisa, what do you do when you get stuck? Or do you ever get stuck? Do you have a crew? Like, do you have, for me, if I get stuck, I'm on the phone with Sharon or I'm on the phone with another writer friend saying, I need help with this. Do you have a crew or what do you do?
I do. I have my editor. She's always available to me. If it's not something that I'm like ready to bother her with yet, I have 2 really good writing friends that I try to stay in touch with every day. Maddie Dalrymple and Jane Kelly. I call them my plot first responders because I can just like message them and be like, oh, it's an emergency, a plot emergency. And they'll hop on a Zoom call or we'll go out to brunch and figure it out. And even my husband is really, really good at plot stuff too. I always say like he should be in a writer's room somewhere for a television show.
That's a good question. Any talk about turning these into a TV show or whatever?
Sometimes we'll get an email from a production company saying, are the rights available? And then I say yes, and talk to Richard at my publisher, and then nothing, I don't hear anything after that. So, I would love it. I think it would be really cool. I think it
would be amazing.
I think they would translate well. So we'll see what happens.
Do you have anybody you would want to play Noah or Josie?
Oh, great question.
That's a great question.
So initially I had said Alexandra Daddario. And then I saw Victoria Pedretti. She was in the 2nd and 3rd season of You. And I really like her. But generally, I think any actress that just embodies the quality of Josie, like the grittiness and the strength, I think would be fine. I don't even think they would have to look like Josie for me to be happy with them, as long as they had a Josie-like quality. And then Noah, my two choices are like wildly different. It's what is his name? I want to say Mike Vogt. He was in Under the Dome. And then the other actor I really like is Max Thiero, who was in SEAL Team and is now in Fire Country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they don't even like really look alike, but there's something about
It's a vibe for you, though. It seems like it's, you know.
Yeah. It's a quality to me,
Yeah.
more than it is, you know, the way that they look.
All right. Well, my fingers are crossed for that to happen, because I just think
Oh,
That'd be
would be
wonderful.
fantastic.
That would be wonderful.
That would be awesome.
We've got one more quick question. Any from Jennie Chapala. Anything you wish you knew beforehand or would have done differently during the writing process?
You know, like I kind of figured that stuff out through trial and error. If I could go all the way back, I would say, because I was a major pantster in the beginning, I would say that I wish that I had known how useful it was to, even if you don't outline, just to jot down your notes and thoughts about the story before you sit down to write it. Because a lot of times people, and even myself, can be intimidated by the idea of an outline, but there's nothing wrong with literally just jotting down random thoughts that you have about the story, because I find that what happens is that a lot of things happen creatively in your brain, and you come up with more ideas by doing that. So if I had all of these books to write again at the very beginning, I would have started doing that before every book.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Well, that's good advice for aspiring writers.
It
Thank
is.
you
It's
so
great
much.
advice.
And thank you for this interview and for being part of our book club. We had
Thank you
such
so
an
much,
amazing
Lisa.
time
Wonderful.
chatting with you, and we hope you'll come back again and
Yes, absolutely.
let us read another one. So thank you so much, and
you.
we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks, Lisa.
Oh my God, she's so much fun. I love
Oh,
her.
that was so great. That was such a wonderful book. I thoroughly
Oh.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So fun.
So we
There's
have.
there's 15 others, guys. Like, you just have to go back and like do them. Like,
Oh, definitely. You have already started.
I want to be accomplished like you, Abbie. I want to go back and do them all. So that'd be fun. Okay, guys. So next month is February, and it is Romance Month, and we are so excited to have. You have Wedding Tales, and Sharon Wray and Jennie Marts are both in this anthology, and we are going to have so much fun with this. Wait till you see Valentine's Day. It's going to be a blast. So make sure to tune in on Feb 14th, and we'll see you then. Bye, guys.
bye. Thanks for coming.